All right, amidst global conversations, limitations and disruptions, India has silently made history, marking a major leap for the country's atomic energy program and moving closer to cutting dependence on uranium. Hello and welcome to another episode of Deep Dive by NewsX. My name is Vineet and today we talk about India's nuclear leap, how it was achieved and why this success matters. On the evening of 6th April 2026 at 8:25 p.m. to be precise, a quiet but historic moment unfolded at the Kalpakkam nuclear complex in Tamil Nadu. The prototype fast breeder reactor, India's most advanced nuclear reactor, reached criticality. This means that the nuclear chain reaction inside the reactor's core has become self-sustaining. Neutrons released from fission events started producing enough new neutrons to keep the reaction going steadily without external help. Prime Minister Modi announced the achievement himself, calling it a proud moment for India and a defining step in the country's civil nuclear journey. He also described it as a decisive move towards harnessing India's vast thorium reserves in the years ahead. Senior scientists and engineers from the Department of Atomic Energy, including Dr. Ajit Kumar Mohanty, Secretary of the DAE, and officials from Bhavani and Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, were present at the reactor as the reactor came alive. So what makes this reactor special? Let's understand it step by step. Most of the nuclear reactors operating in India today are pressurized heavy water reactors. They use natural uranium as fuel and heavy water as both moderator and coolant. These reactors generate electricity and also produce plutonium as a byproduct when uranium is used up, but they consume more fuel than they create over time. The prototype fast breeder reactor, or the PFBR, is completely different. It is a 500 megawatt electric reactor designed to produce more nuclear fuel than it consumes. That's why it is called a breeder. The Kalpakkam PFBR was designed and built entirely in India. The Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research developed the design, while Bhartiya Nabikiya Vidyut Nigam Limited, a public sector company under the Department of Atomic Energy, constructed and is commissioning it. More than 200 Indian companies, including many MSMEs, supplied components, showcasing the depth of indigenous manufacturing capability. This milestone marks India's official entry into the second stage of its unique three-stage nuclear power program, a visionary roadmap first drawn up by Dr. Homi J. Baba in the 1950s. Let's take a detailed look into what the three stages of the prototype fast breeder reactor look like. Stage 1 involves the use of natural uranium in pressurized heavy water reactors. India has built and operates several of these. They produce electricity and importantly generate plutonium-29 as a byproduct from the uranium-238 in the fuel. Now let's talk about stage 2, as achieved by the fast breeder reactors like the PFBR at Kalpakkam. Here the plutonium from stage 1 is used as fuel. These reactors not only produce power but also breed more plutonium than they consume by converting uranium-238 in the blanket. This in fact multiplies our limited uranium resources many times over. The PFBR is the prototype that proves the technology at a commercial scale. Once we have enough plutonium and experience from stage 2, we move to stage 3 with thorium-based reactors. India has one of the world's largest reserves of thorium, found in the monazite sands along the southern and eastern coasts. The most significant concentrations are located along the coast of Kerala, notably in Chavara and Alpura, and Tamil Nadu in Manava, Kurchi and Kanyakumari, which host some of the richest deposits. Additional reserves are found along the coasts of Odisha and Chhatrapur, Gopalpur, the Sri Kulam and Vishakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh, and to a lesser extent in Ratnagiri, Maharashtra. In stage 3, thorium-232 will be converted into uranium-233, which can then be used as fuel. Experts estimate that this stage could provide India with clean, reliable electricity for several centuries with minimal imports. In short, the PFBR is the crucial bridge. It allows India to extract far more energy from its limited uranium and sets the foundation for a thorium-fueled future. This progress has seen consistent high-level support. 2 years ago, in March 2024, Prime Minister Modi personally visited the facility. He witnessed the commencement of core loading, the important process of placing the nuclear fuel assemblies into the reactor core. During that visit, Prime Minister toured the reactor and the control room. He was briefed in detail about the salient features of the facility and interacted with scientists and engineers working on the project. That moment reflected the government's strong commitment to advancing India's indigenous nuclear capabilities. Reaching criticality is a huge technical achievement, but it is only the beginning of the commissioning process. The reactor will now undergo several phases of low power testing, physics experiments, and safety validations. Gradually, lower power levels will be raised. Only after all these checks is the reactor expected to be connected to the electricity grid and start supplying power to Tamil Nadu grid. With this achievement, India joins a very select group of countries that have successfully operated fast breeder reactors. Russia is currently the one nation running commercial scale fast breeders. China has operated the small experimental fast reactor since 2010 and is advancing larger demonstrations, but it has not yet reached the commercial scale breeder stage that Russia and now India have achieved. Other countries like France, Japan, UK, USA and Germany built and achieved criticality in experimental or prototype FBRs decades ago, but none currently operate commercial scale breeders. This success did not come overnight. Construction of the PFBR began in 2004 with an original target of completion around 2010-2011. The project faced delays due to technical complexities, procurement challenges and the need for rigorous safety reviews. The cost also rose from the initial estimate of around 3,500 crores to over 8,000 crores. Indian engineers persisted. They developed indigenous solutions for fuel fabrication, sodium coolant systems, instrumentation and safety features. Cut to over 2025 when the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board gave its final clearance only after thorough inspections and meetings that were held for a long time. A fast reactor fuel cycle facility is also coming up at Kalpakkam, but reprocess spent fuel and close the cycle. These steps will help scale up nuclear capacity towards the ambitious target of 100 gigawatts by 2047. In a world facing energy uncertainties and climate challenges, India's quiet but determined progress in nuclear technology stands out. The PFBR is not just one reactor achieving criticality, it is strategic investment in India's energy independence, technological sovereignty and a sustainable future for coming generations. We'll talk about this with some experts. Joining us on the show at this point in time is Dr. P.K. Ghosh, space scientist, Dr. Suresh Nayak, ISRO scientist is also with us on the program. Dr. Ravi Gupta, former DRDO director, is joining us on the program as well. Last but not the least, Dr. Prahlada Ramarao, DRDO scientist, joins us on the program as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Dr. Ravi Gupta, I'll begin with you, sir. So first of all, your assessment of how important this development is. I have read out in this monologue that India has joined that very elite club, which is going to in fact be using thorium and the related reactors for generation of electricity. What kind of a game changer is this for India?
Yes, thank you, Vinit. You have very rightly pointed out and very nicely brought out the importance of this landmark event, which is going to be a game changer in India's energy security and energy autonomy. And as we know that we are importing more than 1/3 of our entire energy needs and almost 88% of the crude oil requirements from abroad, and which is a very, very, you can say, a kind of a risk towards our strategic autonomy. If you are dependent on any other country for energy needs, we cannot remain politically, strategically autonomous. So that way, it is a game changer. It will take us in the direction of achieving this strategic autonomy. But it is it's not going to happen overnight. This PBR technology is extremely challenging, as we have already pointed out. And once this is, after the criticality is achieved, now it will be tested. Soon the power generation will start. And at the end of the day, it remains a kind of a data generator. We will have to generate a lot of technical data to, kind of stabilize and multiply these reactors on a large commercial scale. So, but ultimately, since we have huge deposits of thorium, I wish we could have done it earlier and we could have expedited it earlier, but nevertheless, now it is going to happen. Things are moving fast, and this will provide, we call it a kind of a Akshay Patra of energy for our country. So our country is, we know it is very rapidly expanding economy. We are already world's fourth largest economy in the world, crossed 4 trillion mark, and we are moving towards doubling it in coming few years. That requires, it means our energy requirements are also going to develop. So accordingly, we need huge sources of energy, and we need sources which are clean, green sources. And this is one such green source of energy which does not add to carbon credit, kind of. So it is not it is a non-polluting industry. And the another important advantage is that generally people criticize nuclear energy because the spent fuel becomes a problem. It becomes an environmental hazard. But in this case, the thorium, when it is converted to uranium-233 and which is used as a fuel, the products generated, the spent fuel in that case is far more safer and easier to dispose of. So that way, it is truly a game changer, and I am sure that very soon, after this success is achieved, this is the first step towards the great success, and it is going to ultimately, I'm sure the government will expedite it further, multiply the reactors so that the data generation is faster, and we ultimately achieve complete strategic autonomy in terms of energy requirements. Thank you, Vinay.
You're quite right, sir. Dr. Ghosh, how are you hailing this accomplishment? Obviously, another thing that comes to mind is what were those circumstances which, number one, delayed us from achieving this kind of criticality, and number two, what were the circumstances that helped us get to this point today?
Yes, thank you. Firstly, I must mention that the fact that India has got one of the world's largest thoriums deposits, as you mentioned. In fact, you've given a very beautiful and detailed description of the entire scenario. This has been there at the back of the mind of all policymakers. Why can't we use thorium for our electricity generation, which I'll come to very shortly of where we are as far as our electricity generation is concerned. So now we are only in the stage 2, and the problems have been, if you remember, this fast breeder reactor was started somewhere in 2004, and the initial budget was somewhere around 3,500 crores. But over time, it shot up almost to double the amount. So that was one constraining factor. The other factors which we kept getting were the safety issues. Now, a liquid sodium pool type reactor has got a lot of issues, and it's quite a complex thing. You know, the entire core and everything is put in a large vessel, and the thing that sodium can catch fire with the very easily has been a constraining factor. But the energy efficiency is much more. So there are pros and cons of this, and the fact that it is much more, what should I say, complex. You need highly anti-corrosive materials to hold that vessel, etc., etc. I'm not going into details. So this nagging thought that we will not be able to have the safety standards got the Atomic Regulatory Board into it, and they conducted numerous tests to ensure that everything was safe. So, and only after that can you achieve criticality. So the first thing is that the safety factor, budget, and I said I would mention about where all we stand as far as our electricity generation through nuclear power is concerned. At present, we only manufacture or create, as one would say, 8.78 gigawatts, which is just about 3%. And what is hope to do. We hope to create at least 22.38 gigawatts by 2030. I just don't know whether we'll be able to achieve or not. There are the optimists and there are the cynical people. I would like to be a little more cautious in this, but we are aiming to achieve 100 gigawatts by 2047. Now, all that, if you put in perspective, you'll see this is one of the most important second stage step, as one would say, in our achievement of that aim. And as Dr. Gupta mentioned, no country can ever be truly strategically independent unless we are independent as far as energy security is concerned. So this is a very important step, and unfortunately it has been dragging on. In fact, the last time this thing was supposed to get critical was in December last year. But again, after a lot of hype, it just happened, it'll just happen, it got delayed. So now finally it has achieved criticality, and I would like to salute all our scientists who have been working day in, day out for this. And I think very soon we'll be coming to stage 3 after we get all the data and all the tests, etc., are completed, and we can latch on to the normal grid. After we, plug onto the normal grid, it'll be good. So let's see where we go.
Let me also bring in Dr. Nayak into this conversation. Dr. Nayak, India, of course, has come leaps and bounds ahead when it comes to energy production, but we are still a country which is energy deficit in terms, if you include, villages and towns which still struggle with 24-hour power supply. How is this achievement likely to impact and change that over the course of the next couple of decades, precisely keeping 2047 in mind?
Yeah, actually, already I think other points have been covered. So what I would like to do in a brief time is explain to the viewers the technical aspects, which are little complex for them to understand by reading. So I would try to make it very simple, and then I will come to what you are saying. You see, first thing is our conventional nuclear reactors need uranium-233 as the fuel, right? And then actually that is fissile, broken up, and then a lot of heat is produced, and then the steam runs the turbines. That's how the electricity is generated. But in our case, this uranium-233 sources are very, very limited, whereas we have abundant thorium sources. Right now, it is really a brainy idea to use this thorium deposits and thorium, but it is not a fissile material. So as it is, it cannot be used as the fuel for producing electricity. So if thorium is made to absorb plutonium neutrons, okay, then it gets converted into uranium-233, which is our goal. So basically what we are trying to do in this experiment of fast breeder reactors is it acts as a bridge between our thorium sources and uranium-233. Okay, now how it does it? You see, there are 3 stages. First stage is a uranium reactor. So the natural uranium we have to use, and you create the plutonium, right? And then second stage is basically what we are completed, or rather entered just now, is multiplication of plutonium material, because that will be required for us finally to get uranium-233, because I have already explained, because the electrons of plutonium are absorbed by the thorium, and then only we can get uranium-233. So we have to have an abundant supply of plutonium. So the second stage is trying to do that, right? And then after the plutonium is prepared, the third stage, actually what we do is thorium 232 plus plutonium, you use it, and that perhaps that will give you uranium 233. So this is the flow of the program of three-stage activities of the nuclear reactors development in India, and prepare fuel for using it in the conventional nuclear reactors. Okay. Now you see this once again, this flow. You start with uranium, then plutonium, then thorium, then uranium 233, and then the electricity. Now, of course, as it's been already told, that this particular thing, what we have done completely as far as the criticality of second stage, actually this particular thing has to be commercialized first. We need to have plutonium in large supply, and then we can go to third stage. All right, and then what actually we had to do this will take a lot of time, maybe almost, actually as already explained, 2047, which is the Bharat Vikasit year, and then I think we will be able to succeed in using thorium to really produce electricity. You see, that is the total perspective of this particular program, which was conceived by Dr. Homi Bhabha way back in 2000, 2004, as already has been explained. Now, coming to your question, you see, we had to, of course, produce some more conventional reactors, which already has been planned, and India is also thinking about small modular reactors. Modular nuclear reactors, they have got advantages because it doesn't require that kind of infrastructure which a normal conventional size reactor requires, and it can be, wherever there is a need, we can erect it. So modular nuclear reactors is also another option for the solution India is looking for. And then again, alternative sources of energy we have to use in reaction, the solar energy, the windmill, and so on. Okay, so that also parallelly is going on. So till we get our own uranium 233 supply, we are able to produce that. We had to manage with this, and of course the
Okay.
import.
All right, sir. We have a paucity of time. Let me just quickly also get in Dr. Ramarao and take down his views on a number of facets that have been discussed, sir, and a number of facets that will continue to unravel in the next few years to come when you talk about thorium and India's energy dependence on new ideas, basically, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm grateful for all the technical details given by Dr. Nayak, Dr. Ghosh. And see, as you know, I have worked for more than 15 years in R&D, and Dr. Abdul Kalam was my immediate boss. And we used to have same problem what the thorium reactor problem faced. The extension of PDC, it goes double the time. Extension of project cost goes 3 times. So we have to now learn from the previous experiences how, at least I worked with Dr. Abdul Kalam for nearly 3 decades. I learned how to make things faster and also how to make things successful. So this we need the leadership to handle this future third stage of thorium reactors, so that we should not again get into the same problem of time extension and cost escalation, and have a proper mechanism for review system by experts, then a monitoring control committees to direct the project team towards the success, and ensure that portable, modular energy generation systems are available to the country at an affordable and sustainable cost. And what Ravi Gupta told, that this is much safer and the less of nuclear waste. I agree. But whatever it is, the nuclear waste has to be handled. Otherwise, the public won't accept. It may be a small percentage, but nuclear waste has to be handled. So you need a project. Is actually a projectized that also has to be done. And so you many of experts in nuclear science also know there is what is known as low energy nuclear reaction. That is, can you do fusion by some intelligent processes and mechanisms at a lower energy, lower in yield than, of course, the thorium-based reactor, but it does not require even thorium or uranium, no breeding required. It requires only known materials like hydrogen, nickel, palladium. So we have to pursue what I agree with Dr. Suresh Naik. We have to pursue all aspects of energy generation, not only wind and thermal and solar, but also low energy nuclear reaction. In addition to our mainstay, that is fossil fuel. Now, this nuclear energy is a big boon, and we have to see that this opportunity is not lost in the country. Proper mechanism for review and monitoring control will be incorporated so that we in India will be, as you said, strategically and energy, we should be free. Free. India gets a total freedom. Viksit Bharat in 2047, only we have freedom from imports for energy. We should not import anything for energy. Freedom, we have total freedom when you have your own energy sources. So I think we having learned the lessons from the defense and atomic energy and space, we should do better. A better mechanism, maybe you have to identify people who can emulate Dr. Abdul Kalam in project management, in schedule management, in success management. Probably that's what the country has to do, and I am sure with the present government taking so much in interest in science and technology, this will come up, and we will be seeing India will achieve the strategic
All right,
autonomy
fair enough,
for
sir.
energy
We've run
security.
out of time, but I appreciate everybody who came in and, of course, illuminated our minds with the knowledge they have. And of course, the development is heartening, as well as, another feather in India's illustrious hat. We'll take a short break now. We'll be right back.